Golden Knights having great success so far this year. Does that put any pressure on you guys to succeed in this
Who are the
year?
Golden Knights? No, only pressure is that the sniping of people saying you got to do as good as them.
It's just good. Vegas is treating us well, and I think the record doesn't show how hard that we work, and it's tough in that way, but it's good for us in the inner circle to understand what we have going on in Vegas, and if we just continue to trust and believe in each other, the sky's the limit for this team, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Our expectations maybe at the start of the season were a little unrealistic.
Man, we're not even worrying about the playoffs right now. What we do is we take it week by week. We gotta worry about next week. You start looking ahead and you start looking over people, you might not even make it. So
That being said, to me, Urban Meyer is one of the lowest pieces of garbage there is on this earth.
You are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports, live on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
You're muted.
We see Jose, but we don't hear him, right? That's the deal.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, there we go.
Straight Bet Sports. Everybody all right? Everybody ready? Because all I can see is myself on the screen. I can't see anything else. So I don't know who's in the studio right now or what's going on. But we are coming to you live once again here from the Gorilla Cross Radio Studios. I am not in Las Vegas. I'm not in downtown right now. As you guys see, different screen behind me. I am coming to you live from the city of Mexico, Mexico City here, long ways away, just hanging out, having a great time with the family. But there's so much to talk about right now in the world of sports that there was no way that I can stay away tonight. But I got the guys back in the studio hanging out with me. I got my guy Chris Winn, EMB, my co-host, and Jay Madrazo's up in the studio hanging out with us today. We have a lot to talk about. Fellas, how are you guys doing? How's the weather out there in Vegas right now, though?
It's a nice monsoon season, so every once in a while it'll sprinkle a little bit, get your car dirty right after a car wash, and then it just leaves sunny again.
Textbook Vegas in August, right, guys?
Exactly.
A little bit of rain occasionally, very occasionally, still in the triple digits basically most of the time, and that's again the case today. And so, hey, par for the course, my friends, as we'd expect here in the great city of Las Vegas.
Chris, I know you said, why am I hosting the show? I'm supposed to be having a good time. I'm supposed to be.
You're on vacation, man. What's the deal? Look, I get it. A couple of sports icons have passed away in the last, 3-4 days, which makes sense. Okay, we're talking about
right?
two monstrous figures in the world of sports have passed away, and we are basically 24 hours away from the start of the preseason in the NFL. So we understand it, Jose. We get it. We know. Why you're going to take a break from your vacay, my friend, and host your show. Makes sense.
Now, Chris, I still appreciate you being in the studio, my guy. You'll be there next week. I won't be doing anything next week, but having a great time while I'm still out here. So you and Ian will be hosting the show. Our guy Jay Madrazo's in the studio right now as well, going to give us some soccer stuff here later. Appreciate that as well. But I'm going to ask you guys, like I do every single week, even though I'm not in the studio, even though I'm on vacation, do us all a favor. Press that like, press that share, drop a comment, and we'll go from there like we do every single week. We'll be reading out comments on social media. You want to give us a call, 702-608-3259 is the number, as it is every single week. So again, thank you to each and every one of you that just decided to chime in tonight, as you do every single week. I know we posted it on social media, and we said we have a lot to talk about, and that we do. Before we get into some of the stuff that's going to ruffle some feathers and probably bother some people, which it already has done before we've even spoken today. A lot has been said about certain situations where we're going to get into, but we have to pay respect where respect is due. The great Vince Scully is no longer with us. He passed away yesterday. We got the news late night. Not surprising, he finally lived his life. He was an older gentleman, 94 years old. His time had come. You never want to see anybody go. We get that. But if you're a Dodger fan or a baseball fan or a sports fan in general, this guy is one of the all-time greats. He is a GOAT. The way he did play-by-play, the stories he gave us, when it was just not about the game. He gave a story about Madison Bumgarner. I saw a video that I remember a while back when the Dodgers were playing the Giants, and it's a story about how him and his wife had a rattlesnake, and they were out in the woods, and they killed it, and then they found a baby bunny on the inside and took care of it and nurtured it back to life. And it's just different stories, how he would always give it to you different. Not only that, a lot of people don't know. He played, I think it was baseball as well, or basketball. I'm not sure what it was. You could probably correct me more than I can, Chris Winn. But with one of our ex-presidents, George W. Bush, which is insane. A lot of people don't know or even talk about that. It just shows you how the history is rich there, even though it's not just sports. There's so much history in general. Now, I grew up obviously in L.A., going to L.A. Dodger games. I'm a Yankee fan, but I grew up in L.A., so I was always there, listening to him on the radio. When I would go to games, I would have my headphones on, listening to the AM radio while everything is going on, which is amazing. It's awesome, man. But also, the passing of Bill Russell. That one, to me, not to take anything away from Vince Scully, guys, but I think the passing of Bill Russell, what he did, legacy, and the blueprint that he left behind for us to follow, which Vince Scully did as well, I think is something that no one else is going to tap into or ever be able to do because of how they did it. Look at Bill Russell. He's one of a kind. I'm not going to speak stats. You guys can look it up for himself. But take away the stats. Look at what he did as an individual, right, in this country, with everything that's going on, him being an African-American, playing in the league, which is dominated by white people during the time, right? So much different style of play, but yet, so is Vince Scully. It's a sad day. We get it. At the end of the day, we're all going to pass sometime, but guys are now gone. So now it's time for broadcasters to get ready and step up to the plate. Be not who these individuals were, but start creating your own legacy, and a legacy that means something. Don't just try to be what people want to hear. Give people stories. Give people things that they're going to basically relate to and have fun with for the rest of their lives. And remember, I'm going to have memories of Vince Scully for the rest of my life. Bill Russell, not so much. Obviously, I didn't grow up in that era. But, fellas, how do you guys feel about what's going on here and the passing of both of these legends?
So, obviously, I'm a lot younger than you guys. I don't know about a lot, but fair enough.
A little bit?
A little bit. So, Vince Scully, I do have some memories. Obviously, I've seen the highlights. I've watched film on, the catch with Joe Montana.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. And he did bring something that just nobody really did. And like you said, he was a storyteller. He was the voice. Everyone kind of knew what to expect with him, and he had his own brand, which was it spoke to the longevity of this craft, right? Because he's kind of laid out, like he said, the blueprint for all of sports broadcasting and commentary. And we, like you just said, we can create our own legacy. That's pretty much all I have, is that he is 94, lived a really good life, and it's time for us to respect him and basically live up to his legacy by creating our own. Same thing with Bill Russell. I mean, phenomenal basketball player. He was a champion 11 out of 13 years, which is just incredible. If you really think about that, it's just, I know there wasn't really, the salary cap and all of that is a different era, but I mean, to be a champion 80% of your entire career is remarkable. And I don't think we'll ever see anything even close to that type of success.
As the elder statesman of this group, which I can confidently say, even amongst Quan over here, I have my own perspective, obviously, given both of these men. Bill Russell, as someone who grew up, of course, in the Midwest, like I did in Michigan, Bill Russell was a member of that Celtics dynasty, which a lot of us who were Pistons fans or fans of teams in the Midwest, we respected the Celtics but didn't necessarily like them. But what he was able to accomplish and what he represented as a black man in America, not just a black athlete, but as a black man in America, I think resonates and has resonated over the past days since his passing. And we understand why he was extremely significant and why people even focus on it, given, yes, even myself, I never saw Bill Russell play. I'm not that old where I saw Bill Russell on the court for the Boston Celtics. I didn't even see him coach for the Boston Celtics. But you understand the legacy, right? You understand why, because we are people who have listened to our elders, listened to people that actually were there and actually did see it when it comes to Bill Russell. So it's understandable. Both men, obviously iconic in their own way, right? Bill Russell as a coach, as a player, and as a black man in America. Vin Scully, different, because Vin Scully, obviously, in the realm of sports entertainment and sports media. I'll say that because he started out in radio. Vin Scully was in radio. A lot of you, again, you younger guys here in the studio and Jose, you weren't old enough or weren't even born yet when in Major League Baseball, every team didn't have a TV network. You didn't see every single game. Back when I started watching baseball in the late 70s, early 80s as a kid, it was the radio. Like every single game in Major League Baseball, you were guaranteed to hear it on the radio, but you weren't guaranteed to see it on TV. There wasn't the Fox Sports West. That essentially was created for the Dodgers television network, right? So, and I'm not even, and obviously I grew up in the Midwest, and I grew up in LA, but listening to a lot of people from Southern California in the last 24 hours talk about Vince Scully's passing, they essentially created Fox Sports West for the Dodgers telecasts back in the I believe it was late 80s when they actually started doing, because that's really, the 80s is when every single team started to ramp up their television coverage on a regional standpoint, from a local standpoint. What I was exposed to Vince Scully initially the first time was on national television. He used to do the NBC Game of the Week on TV, on NBC Sports. He, along with Joe Garagiola, were the team back in the 80s, and they were outstanding. And so that was my first exposure to Vince Scully, and I grew up a huge baseball fan. I started watching the Detroit Tigers back in the late 70s as a tyke, and he was my first exposure to it from a national standpoint to broadcasting and excellence in broadcast. The guy was just great. Jose alluded to it, the storytelling, kind of the approach that he took. Look, he was a one-of-a-kind, and he was outstanding at it. Petros Papadakis talked about this on the radio this morning. Petros Papadakis, college football analyst for Fox Sports.
For USC, yeah.
Yeah, also works for Fox Sports Radio on occasion. He had a great line describing Vin Scully, essentially, saying that he was a lightning bolt of excellence. And that's true. The guy, you're not going to find a broadcaster anywhere in the country, on the globe for that matter, in my humble opinion, that was better than Vin Scully at doing this right here. And he started out in radio, and then, of course, moved to television, and then, of course, that's when you guys got exposed to him, when he started doing Dodger broadcasts on television. But the storytelling and his honing that skill came about when he was a radio guy back in Brooklyn, New York, when he was a kid, and he was able to kind of add on to that experience and expose all sports fans to that. And those of us that lived in other parts of the country that didn't get the Dodger games on the radio, or that didn't see the early LA Dodgers telecasts, we were exposed to him through NBC Sports and through other venues on a national level. And so we got a chance to appreciate it. So in a roundabout way, I'm going to cap this off by saying, LA Dodger fans, you've been spoiled, okay? Because you got a chance to enjoy Vince Scully all the time during baseball season, and got a chance to see one of the all-time greats do it on a daily basis, while a lot of us only got to see it, occasionally on the national level, yet we could still appreciate it. That's the memories that I have of Vince Scully, and passing at the age of 94. Hey, man, I hope I can make it to my 90s. You kidding me? I mean, if that's possible. But rest in peace to both all-time great icons in Bill Russell and Vince Scully.
So I got 2 comments here that I want to share, but just first, big up to Kev Ray, Primo Eddie, Goose Thomas, everybody chiming in. Bill Logan, we appreciate you. People on Twitter, man, plug. You know what's up, man. I appreciate you guys. I got some comments, though, and Goose says it best. Bill is one of the top 5 greatest Black Americans of all time. He belongs on the Mount Rushmore of not only sports athletes, but Black Americans. I agree with that 100%. And then Plug chimes in on Twitter, and he says, for the basketball side of it as well, he says, the game was looked at and held at a different standard then than it is now. And I agree with that. So that's why I think what Bill Russell did, it means so much, man. But to everyone that loved and respected these individuals, that's a big sports fan, hey, Bill, thoughts and prayers to all of his family, Vince Scully as well. They will never be forgotten. I guarantee you they'll be talked about moving forward. But guys, once again, you are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports live here on the Guerrilla Cross Radio Network. I am Jose V coming to you live from Mexico City. If you're looking behind me, I'm in my uncle's office right now. He's a big Beatles fan. He's traveled the world. He's been everywhere. And I'm sitting in his office right now, and I wish I could show you guys the rest. It's amazing here. I'm having a great time. I know Joel's a little bit jealous because I went to the Estadio Olímpico Universitario, which is look at which is over here in Mexico, which is Club Pumas, and that's his club. So he's a little upset because I'm
hating on him 100%.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He's not happy right now, man.
He's over here FaceTiming me like a million times. I'm like, chill, bro, chill. I've never been there. Like, we're gonna have to cut this off, Like,
bro, I got you a jersey, bro. I got you a jersey from
that
outside
experience.
the stadium, so you can have something that you can always remember, bro. And we'll get here one day. We'll come back and we'll go to a game. But before,
whoa.
Your uncle's Wi-Fi. He's got the uncle Wi-Fi kicking in right there. Come on, there you go. The miracles of 2022 sports media action, baby. Jose, we got you back? Maybe not. I don't know. He was rubbing a little bit of it. He is rubbing a little bit.
Every time you touch these damn headphones, they go bad. I'm sorry about that. But what I was going to say, first time I've ever been to a stadium outside of the U.S., right? And I'm going to tell you this. The experience, the atmosphere, the way the people treat you is none other that I've experienced. Not to take anything away from anything in the U.S., but one thing that I will tell people, if you're ever outside of the United States and you're on vacation and you can catch any type of game, soccer, basketball, football, baseball, whatever it may be, try it out, man. Different experiences are great. But fellas, we have a lot more to talk about. We have a lot more going on. EMB, Chris Winn, Jose V, Jay Madrazos, Quan59 here on Guerrilla Cross Radio, Straight Bet Sports. Again, drop that like, drop that comment, drop that share, and we'll go from there. But fellas, Deshaun Watson, we already know everything that's been going on. Go. Suspension comes out. Now, I have some things that I'm going to say real quick. First of all, understand, and what happened from the beginning was that everyone jumps the gun. The NFL's horrible. The NFL's bad. The NFL doesn't care about women. But yet, not once would anyone mention NFLPA both agreed and hired. That's one. Now, also, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I'm not against Deshaun. I'm not for him. I'm not against the NFL. I'm not against anyone. I want to give my opinion and my thoughts on what I see from the outside looking in. One thing and one person out there from ESPN, Sarah Spain, she's been very critical of this whole situation and the ruling of what happened, right? The NFL only gave Judge Robinson a certain amount of cases, not all 24. 24 of the civil cases, out of those, 22 have been already solved. One has been ongoing as where the other one was dropped. That's one. Now, I tweeted out to Sarah Spain, and Sarah Spain and I have sent emails and tweets and DMs together for the last 2.5 years. She's a very great individual. I love her as a woman and a female in sports because she brings it to you. She brings it to you raw. She brings it to you real. I commented on one of her posts recently, and that was yesterday. And I basically said, look, against Deshaun Watson, I'm not against the NFL. But the one thing that I will say, it's a tough situation, right? I'm also a man. I'm an individual. I've been in situations where I've been accused of things, bad things, where I'm like, no way. Nothing sexual, thank God. But I've been accused of bad things. Some things even involving women, right? But like, again, nothing sexual, nothing bad like that. Just certain stupid situations. Excuse my language, Quan. I know you don't want me to say bad words. But I've also cleared my name. I've also had proof and shown things that, hey, I'm being honest. I've been in many situations where I've been accused of things where I wasn't even there or didn't even do anything, right? But then I'm also in this situation where I step back and I go, I have 2 daughters. One that just turned 18. The 18-year-old just started dating and has a boyfriend. The other one's just going to barely finish middle school and is going to be going into high school. So, of course, it's tough for me to be in this situation to where I pick and choose. So my thing here is that none of us do. We're not the NFL. We're not Deshaun Watson. We're not these lawyers, and we are not these individuals. So for us to say, well, his suspension wasn't good, it should be more, 6 games is ridiculous, Calvin Ridley got a year because of this, we need to all be quiet and stop comparing other people's suspensions. That's one. That's one thing that I need to throw out there. Every suspension is different. And there's also a bunch of people that are throwing stuff out there saying, well, Deshaun Watson already missed a whole year. He didn't play for a whole year, but he got paid. That's what a lot of people still don't understand. No one wants to throw that out there and say he didn't play for a year, but he did get paid. People are just trying to make the excuse that, well, he didn't play. It's not right. He already, his suspension should be done, this, and that. I don't know what the suspension should be. I'm not the NFL. But when I look at the stuff that's being given, the things that the judge said, it's just a tough situation all the way around. And for people to say, well, the NFL is going to lose fans, the NFL is going to lose viewership, our good friend Sosa the Locksmith, Wise Guys Diamond Club, tweeted out and he said it best. Fell and didn't allow fans for COVID. And they didn't miss a game. They didn't skip a beat. The NFL is not going to lose anything. Yes, are they going to probably lose female viewership? 100%. I agree. And probably more than anything in Cleveland. But you got to understand, at the end of the day, a lot of people, all they care about is watching the game. They don't care about anything going outside of it. Look at what happened at training camp. People were mobbing this guy as if he was a hero. So again, in muddy waters with everything that he's being accused of, no one should ever be in that type of situation. I don't know where I stand 100% with this. The NFL just came out and they said that they're going to try to appeal and that they're going to try to get a 1-year suspension at least and finally get a fine. If I'm being honest with you, excuse me, it looks very bad right now, guys. For you to only give a certain amount of cases to the judge, right? And then for you to say, more, it's not right. But the only reason you did it was because I feel everything that's being said on social media, right? Everything that's being talked about right now, people are mad and people are blowing up. If the NFL really cared and really wanted this, why didn't they do it right then and there? I think Roger Goodell was being pressured. I honestly feel that the NFL was going to leave the 6-game suspension. But now, with everything going on behind it, everybody on social media, ESPN, Fox, all these people that are talking crap that are upset about it, of course he has to come out and say, okay, yes, we're going to ask for more. Here we go. Let's do it, right? And the final thing I'll say here, guys, for the attorneys, shut up already. For you guys to say that you're upset, that you're mad, that he shouldn't even be suspended, I'm sorry, guys. He should be suspended. What the suspension is, I don't know. That's not my job. But that's how I feel about this situation, guys. Whoever wants to take it, go for it.
So my whole thing with this is I don't think the NFL or Goodell necessarily got bullied into asking for more, because they have from the beginning, kind of when they've talked about this, been looking for what seems to be an indefinite 1 year at least
From
minimum.
the jump, from the beginning.
From the jump,
Yeah.
from the very jump. So they've been gunning for a year for the entire time. Now, what's interesting to me is the fact that Sue Robinson, when she came out with the ruling, if you actually look at the ruling, it has the stipulation in there that in order to be reinstated in the NFL, he has to only go to massage therapists that are organized by the club, and also that he can't have any adverse involvement with law enforcement after this or violating the policy. Now, what's interesting about that is the fact that you have to put that in there means that there should have been grounds, I'd say, to extend this suspension of at least the initial ruling to at least 10, 12 games, right? And the NFL, apparently, they did come back to Deshaun Watson's camp and ask for, I think it was 12 games and a $10 million salary or a $10 million fine. So it looks like right now it could be that they really want that year, but it also looks like for some reason they really want to fine him monetary value. They don't want him to get scot-free off with just paying $1 million base salary that the Browns worked into his schedule, and actually make him penalized for the I feel it's the ongoing investigation. The fact that this thing took like a year and a half to come to some type of conclusion. So I think that's where it's coming from. Now, what's interesting too about that though is that the NFL, when they appeal this, it's Goodell that makes the decision on it. So I mean, he could assign someone outside, like a partisan party to look at it, but at the same time, it's still as of right now, it's him that's making the final decision on it. So it's like you're appealing to yourself.
There's so many aspects of this. Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to quote Goose, and then I'll let you go. Goose says, this situation is butt up. I'm not going to say the right word because I won't get in trouble. Backwards. The NFL looks like fools. 2 juries, 2 times not enough evidence, outside of arbitrary, period. Calls for 6 games. Not good enough. Roger Goodell has to be the end-all, be-all. Chris.
There's so many aspects of this that are flat out wacky, guys, and don't make any sense. And we could discuss this for about 12 hours, to be quite honest with you, given the legalese and all the opinions. And that's not even getting to the root of this whole issue to me, is whether or not we think Deshaun Watson is guilty of doing something nefarious, right? And whether it's illegal or illegal. There's been discussions of what the heck is nonviolent sexual misconduct or harassment and all that. You can get into just strictly sticking on Sue L. Robinson's ruling and how it's going to be handled from here on out. It's going to get wacky, guys, and it's going to get even more confusing. Here's the deal, in my own personal opinion. Sue L. Robinson essentially got kneecapped. I mean, her presence and her decision is null and void, essentially. What the NFL has done is say, oh, yeah, we're going to bring in an independent disciplinary officer to make a decision here, a former judge, and then, oh, we don't like the decision or we don't feel that it's just. We're just going to do whatever we want to do, right? That's essentially, yeah. So essentially, what is the purpose of her even being brought in the first place? So that's one point, okay? The second point now, you got the NFL appealing this, right? And they notified the NFL Players Association that they would appeal, and they did. They filed a brief today, this afternoon, as a matter of fact. And so now the union also has the right to appeal Robinson's ruling also. And now the NFLPA, guys, has until Friday to file a written response to the NFL's appeal. And and Jeff Darlington from ESPN saying the NFLPA was preparing to sue the NFL in federal court if it appealed Robinson's decision. So what are we doing here? This, to me, there's a lot of stuff that goes over my head, and it's over a lot of people that aren't legal experts. I'm not a lawyer. As Jose referred to, a lot of us are just football fans and are like, okay, can we get like a final decision and the NFL move on? A lot of us understand the NFL. This is all about their conduct policy, right? There's no legal charges filed as far as criminal charges that have been filed against Deshaun Watson. He's not going to, face any criminal charges as of right now. That's not the case. That's not what he's going to face. It's the court of public opinion, and it's all the stuff we've all been hearing for months, right? Since this has all gone down, and it's all the civil lawsuits. It's the number of civil lawsuits. And now look, when it comes to this, and here I'm going to give my opinion as far as what Deshaun Watson is culpable of. All right. Look, there's been thousands upon thousands of professional, high-profile athletes out there. How many of them have been charged or have been accused of these types of things on this level? Zero. Yeah. No, zero. Oh, zero. The only one person in the NFL that's even been taught this whole issue of massages and this kind of stuff is the owner of the Patriots.
Yeah, I was just
He's the only
say
guy.
Robert Kraft.
And there's been no other high-profile athlete. So what I'm trying to say is, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay. Do I know how much what Deshaun Watson did? Did he try to coerce sex from these women? Did he make them put their hands in places they didn't want to be, and so he made them uncomfortable? I don't know exactly what sordid details are involved as far as what he's been accused of, right? But moving forward, there has to be some kind of resolution from the NFL standpoint, and that gets to what Jose again brought up about female fans of the league. Okay. Female fans are not happy. And look, a lot of male fans aren't happy. I think I'm fair to say, and I don't know if you guys would agree, there's a lot of people that thought the 6-game suspension was light. Okay?
Well, yeah.
Everything considered, they thought it was light. Again, he's not going to be convicted in a court of law. We don't know exactly what he's guilty of. But where there's smoke, there seems to be fire in any of these cases. And we've never had any other professional athlete from NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. There's not like there's 5 players from the NFL every year that are getting accused of doing things in massage parlors or massage rooms with masseuses. Okay, it's just not.
So Chris,
there's a method to the madness, right? Yeah. Deshaun Watson, the one guy. So he's the one guy that's been persecuted here, the one guy that's being raked over the coals. So that's what I would say to the people out there that are saying, "Oh yeah, he's never been convicted. He's just getting screwed totally, and he shouldn't even get suspended. If their mentality is he shouldn't be suspended at all, fine. You kidding me? What? Nothing's been proven. And then you get into the whole, well, he settled all these cases, and you'll get people that'll say that he settled all these cases, so he's got to be guilty. No, that's not necessarily true either. So it's such a big mess. And to circle back and to end this, from my standpoint, what Jose said. It's all about the end of the road here, right? It's all about the perception, and it's all about, for the NFL, it's all about the shield. It's all about the shield, and they from their viewpoint, it's a stain on the NFL, this entire situation and scenario, and so they want to have it go bye-bye. And again, as Goose has pointed out on the line, and many other people, and as you guys have pointed out, I think it's been handled horribly by the NFL and their public relations team, and it's the horse is already out of the barn. So, but we'll see exactly how it ends up shaking out and what ends up finally happening.
So, Chris, do you think that this is almost kind of like a filibuster in a sense? Because it seems like they are a little bit hesitant to put someone on the commissioner's exempt list ever since Kareem Hunt, right? Mm-hmm. And it also seems like they are not satisfied with whatever they choose to do. Like you said, they gave it to Sue Robinson and then immediately said, nah, we're going to take it from here. So it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So are they just trying to push this out as far as possible into the season as they possibly can, you think? Or is it they really do want a conclusion? It's just it's really hard to get it because of the fact of the grand jury found him, not guilty, and just all the legalese and
I think, Ian, you know what I think? I think the NFL wants to have their cake and eat it too. They want to please everybody, right? They want to make so the decision comes down 6 games. There was kind of an uproar in the media and in America, period, of people saying, "Oh my gosh!" The majority of Americans, again, in my personal opinion, I don't know if you guys agree. I think a lot of people said, "They 6 games? What? That seems kind of light. Everybody's got their own individual reasons why they think that. So the NFL, what did the NFL do? Reaction. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it is light. So we need to appeal this because we need to as Ian pointed out, right? The NFL is all along. Let's be straight about it. NFL wanted like at least a year suspension. They called it an indefinite suspension, right? But they wanted at least a year, and then they wanted a huge fine. Which, by the way, Sewell Robinson also no fine.
Yeah,
it was just a 6-game suspension.
Which
so that
weird.
idea, right? That out there in the sphere, in the public sphere, the NFL wasn't happy about, and they're not happy about. So what do? They react, and now we have the situation we have right now, where you're going to have the NFLPA and the NFL going back and forth. You got now essentially it's going to be a designee by Roger Goodell or Roger Goodell himself that's going to essentially decide this, which goes back to the kneecapping of Sewell Robinson.
I feel like
you know what I'm saying?
Sue Robinson
They want to please everybody, the NFL, and in essence, you're going to please nobody, and it's going to be a debacle, which it has been, and the NFL is just going to look bad.
Yeah. So,
guys, we need to move away from this topic real quick, though. Hold up, because I got somebody's texting me while we're going through this because they're watching the show.
Yeah.
So I want to throw this out there. So Sosa, you guys know our guy Sosa, Wise Guys Diamond Club. He hits me up right now through text as you guys are talking. He says the union can sue the NFL or settle. They intentionally picked a female judge, and she can only go off prior situations that fit the similar case. So the NFL knew it's 6 games. It'd be 6 games, of course. Ben got 6, same situation. The number of accusations is what the public outrage comes from. This is called moral grandstanding. People on the internet lie for audiences all the time. Him and the Texans were implicated, not just Deshaun. That's why it'll get even more messy. They paid for the hotel rooms, then paid him $160 million. This stuff is about to get ultra messy. He also says nobody was charged, technically.
See, that's the thing, Jose, right? Guys, that's the thing. We could talk about this for days. You know what I mean? There's so many aspects of this that are messed up and that are arguable, right, and debatable, and you can go down every single rabbit hole and get caught up in it, and so it's really tough. I mean, it's tough in just in our show. Not like we use half the show for it at least, but it's so hard to even just go down every single avenue that we need to go down.
So I actually want to get to a comment real quick by Goose.
Mm-hmm.
There have been bigger stains put on the Shield than this situation. They've handled it all wrong, and they're trying to right the ship too late.
I'd agree with that.
I think that's a great segue to go into our next segment, which is
what I was going to.
The Stephen Ross situation, which I think they've handled absolutely poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you remember, what was it, back in April, March, around that time? So Brian Flores came out with a lawsuit, right? And he said that basically Stephen Ross told him that he needed to tank the season for the draft, as well as he accused the organization of basically tampering with he didn't name names at that time, but he said a coach and a player basically to come in to the organization as limited owners, executives, and basically also be part of the team. And he brought it up, and it kind of was like shoveled to the side, right? And the NFL came out and said immediately, they're like, Brian Flores' statements have zero merit. Well, yesterday, they came out with a ruling saying not only does Brian Flores have merit, but we are going to suspend Stephen Ross for 2.5 months. We are going to dock the Dolphins a first round 2023 pick, a third round 2024 pick, and we're going to fine Stephen Ross $1.5 million. Why? Because they found out that he has been tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton for the last 2 years to get them on the Dolphins. And not only that, they found that there was no... They're trying to kind of sweep it under the rug. They're saying there is no conclusive evidence that he purposely told Brian Flores to tank. However, they do have proof that basically he told Flores to prioritize the draft. I don't know how you interpret that any other way in the middle of the season than I need a tank for the draft. Prioritize the draft. And then also that he had said in, I guess, jest, right, about the 100,000 to tank each game. But I don't think this is a severe enough punishment. I think if you're talking about the integrity of the game, right? You gave Calvin Ridley a year-long suspension for the integrity of the game, right? Violation, right? So if you are finding out from a multi-billionaire standpoint that organizations are starting to tamper with other teams in the NFL, and they are purposely trying to undermine the integrity of the game by tanking and purposely tanking, then you have to come down hard. And I mean hard. Like, both draft picks, disperse it among the people that are wronged. I would say the Saints, the Bucks, and the Patriots, because those were the three teams that they were tampering with, right? And honestly, I would make Stephen Ross sell the team, because you have now proven that he is not a trustworthy owner. I can't believe that other owners of other organizations are very happy with this, because they've always been kind of a close-knit group. That's why NFL is such a big sport. So now you have the integrity of that companionship, I guess, from the owners completely obliterated as well. So if I was Goodell, I would have came down really, really hard on this. I think that it's a severe punishment, but it's not severe enough.
So, look, I got a couple of things to say with this, and I don't want to stick too much on this because we got about 20 minutes left, and we still got some other good topics that we want to get to. I could care less about the Dolphins. If they suspend them for the rest of the year, who cares? I'm a Jets fan. They're my division. I don't care. But I'm going to say one thing that I have here, which is funny to me if you think about it. Tom Brady has now been involved in all 3 forfeited first-round picks in NFL history. 2008 with the Pats, illegally videotaping my Jets coaches' signals on the sideline during an 07 game. 2016 Pats deflating footballs using the 2014 AFC Championship game. And then now, 2022 Dolphins tampering with Brady and Peyton. It's just funny how a GOAT, as we call him, is supposed to be so clean, but yet we keep finding out that he's involved in all these situations. Look, I'll say final about this, and then I'll let Chris talk about it. The NFL is smart. They are very, very smart. You come out with this ruling right after what happens with Deshaun Watson, but yet you don't appeal?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here, man. What do you think, Chris?
Guys, it's a textbook misdirection, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's absolutely what's going on here. Look, here's the deal. And look, there continues, Ian, you just kind of wrapped up a lot of it, but there continues to be more information coming out. You have an assistant coach now, Eric Studesville, who has come out and said that and he's been there since 2018, I believe. And he said during that 2019 season that on the field, the whole mindset was absolutely not. We're not going to take any approach that is going to be towards losing football games at the end of the season. And to me, this whole thing just makes it just makes the owner of the Dolphins just look like a jackass. I'm sorry, it just does, because all the stuff coming out about it. He offered Flores $100,000 for every loss that year, and then you got the GM Chris Greer coming out saying Ross told him that he was mad that the on-field success was compromising the team's draft position. If any of that is remotely true or anything close to true, then I would agree with you, Ian. This guy has no business whatsoever being an owner in the NFL and should be bounced out immediately and be forced to sell the team. There's been owners that have been forced to sell the team for less when it comes to integrity of the game. So to me, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. I'm kind of in Jose's camp as far as like the Dolphins. I'm neither here nor there. I have no dog in the fight when it comes to the Dolphins. So I just think that the difference between this and the whole thing regarding Deshaun Watson, there's a lot of allegations. With this, a lot of this is cut and dry. If it's tampering, or if you're particularly looking at the integrity of the game, there's stuff you can point to and say, the owner of the Dolphins did this. Yes, and therefore you have direct evidence, so to speak, where you can actually say, hey, you're going to face a punishment for this if you're the NFL, and they are. So to me, that's the big difference there. But I would agree that. Outside of Miami, or people that are fans of the AFC East, people don't really care too much.
Do you think Brian Flores reopens this up real quick though? Like,
away from it. I really don't care.
Jose's got he's got his mean green Jets gear in his head right now. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
There's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen with the next week, so you guys will have a lot to talk about next week about it as well. But look, this is the final thing that I'll say on Stephen Ross and the Dolphins, because we got to talk a little bit real quick about the Raiders and then some of the trade deadline that happened with the MLB. But Stephen Ross basically set up Brian Flores. If you think about it, this is so bad. Stephen Ross willingly attempted to incriminate a coach that he employs, right? It's crazy. It's not like he's going to hang out with his boss and he tries to get something done illegally. That's just something that, Stephen Ross, I think, is a big billionaire owner that doesn't care. He got away with some stuff, and it is what it is. I think every single NFL owner and sports owner gets away with stuff on a daily, and we know that, man. But once again, Jose V, Ian B, Chris Winn, Jay Madrazos, Juan 59, hanging out here on Straight Bet Sports on Gorilla Cross Radio. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you chiming in and tuning in on all social medias. We've gotten a lot of comments and a lot of stuff. Fortunately, we can't read them all, but we appreciate you. Now, fellas, real quick, real briefly, Raiders play tomorrow. Football season is technically back. First game tomorrow. We have the Raiders taking on the Jaguars at the Hall of Fame game. I don't have much for this. I don't really watch too much preseason, if I'm being honest with you. I don't remember the last time that I saw even the Hall of Fame game. I'm not going to lie to you. But everyone is saying, are the Raiders going to start their starters? Are they not? What's going to happen? I don't know. Everything I'm hearing, and from people that I know, especially people that we know in Vegas that cover the team, I'm hearing yes, I'm hearing no. So it's split. What do you guys think? Are we going to see some of the starters playing tomorrow?
I think we'll see some of them. I think it'll be a series here or there. Doug Pearson has already said that Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne are not playing at all, so they're going to be on the sideline for the entire game. However, I do think that because you have a completely new system in place with the Raiders, I think it's very possible that we see. But then again, because it is the Hall of Fame game, a lot of coaches seem to not really like playing their starters during that game, just because it's really a week too soon for a lot of people. A lot of teams, I think, including the Raiders, just got to camp a week ago. So I don't see it. I see sprinkle here and there, but they'll pull them really, really quick.
Guys, it's NFL preseason, okay? It's going to be a textbook, run-of-the-mill NFL preseason game. May we see some of the top-tier guys for the first series? Probably, okay? But the deal. Every single year, it's the exact same with preseason. You see maybe one series, and then especially the first preseason game, and then you get a lot of wide receivers wearing number 16, number 89, guys who have a chance. And let's be fair about it too. It is an opportunity for us football fans a lot of times to see the rookies, right? Yeah. The young guys who have just been drafted or who are undrafted free agents that we know about, and you get a chance to see them play, and that's kind of cool. Yeah. All right. And look, we understand the pomp and circumstance that NFL football fans love. You love seeing your jersey, right? You love seeing your team's helmet on the field, back in action. That means the fall's rolling around. It's going to be here soon, not here in Vegas yet because it's still 100 degrees and it's August. But, you know what I'm saying? You get a chance to see NFL football on the field, and it happens to be the Las Vegas Raiders against the Jaguars, who have a highly anticipated young guy at quarterback that, as Ian pointed out, is not going to be playing. But you know what I'm saying? So you have that, and you have the backdrop of the Hall of Fame, right? So you have Cliff Branch, a former Raider, rightfully so, going into the Hall of Fame, which is a big deal. That's why I'm hosting a show here in Vegas for Ken Thompson, because it's his show, but he's actually in Canton, Ohio for that induction. So it's teams up with the Hall of Fame, and so you have that as well too. So that's why people care about it tomorrow night.
Jay, real quick, my guy, because we got a few more minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the soccer real quick, and then we'll finish up with the MLB trade deadline. What do you got real quick for us on the soccer end?
So on the soccer, the biggest transfer this week was Luis Suarez. He came back to Uruguay. He came back to his team that he actually came out of, which is very interesting because there was a lot of rumors that he's 35, so he could go to any elite club. It was very surprising, and the biggest reason that he actually came back was to play in the tournament for the Copa Sudamericana, which they played yesterday, and they unfortunately lost in the first leg. Another transfer that's surprising is Kasper Schmeichel. He left Leicester City after 11 years. I thought that was surprising. He's a top-tier goalkeeper. Yeah, so he went to the French league, which gives the French league a little bit more of a like higher tier in my opinion. And then also we Bernardo Silva from City, they're linking him to PSG or Barcelona, which I think he would actually work out better in the Barcelona system. They're actually looking for more of to beef up the midfield. Another surprising, which is to me a little surprising from the midfield, also Leonardo Paredes from PSG. He's going to Juventus, which is surprising. Like all the Argentinian players from like that are on the national team are actually leaving PSG, which is kind of strange in my opinion, leaving Messi. And then another rumor is Wijnaldum also leaving PSG to Rome, which I think is surprising.
There we go, Jay Madrazos. I got one question for you, and then we'll move on to the baseball side of it. Chelsea just signed a young individual goalkeeper. They're bringing him over from the MLS. Do you think that's a good move? Yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. It's developing the more American players, more giving, we didn't have that 10, even 5 years ago, so many American players playing in Europe. So it's going to be another star, for the future for our next World Cup, especially that we're hosting it. So that's going to be great. Like the system, more players playing like in the league, especially like Chelsea. He already has Pulisic there. So I think it's a great move, especially for the MLS too. They've been working on developing players, since it's such a young league. The more American players, the better. Now that they're owned by the Dodgers, so that system, let's get it going and produce the more American players, the better.
There we go, Jay Madrazos. I appreciate you, my guy. Make sure you guys follow my guy, Jay Madrazos, on all things social media. He's going to be posting a lot more soccer stuff for us on the Straight Bet Sports page. So we greatly appreciate you, my guy. I know it's always short, but you're always giving it to us straight, so I appreciate you. But, fellas, MLB trade deadline was yesterday. A lot of big moves. Obviously, the biggest name was Juan Soto. We knew he was going to get moved, but the question was where. It came down to the wire. It was between the Dodgers and the Padres from everything that I saw and everything that I read. And obviously, we saw the Padres came through, gave up a lot for the guy, didn't get much in return because he only got 2 guys. But the guy that made a splash was Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer told the Padres, but no, thank you. There's no way in hell I'm going to the Nationals. And he went to Boston, the shirt that, Chris Winn is wearing there. He went to the Red Sox. But all in all, I think, you're going to call me crazy, I'm biased. I think the Yankees had a decent trade deadline. Kind of surprised me that they gave up a pitcher for a guy in a walking boot, but it is what it is. I think he'll be all right because we did need a fielder coming towards the end of the season there. But, guys, I want to get Chris Winn's thoughts first. What was your biggest takeaway from the MLB trade deadline yesterday?
My biggest takeaway from the MLB trade line is very simple, guys. The San Diego Padres are actually making a bid to play in a Fall Classic and win it. The San Diego Padres are actually making moves where they believe that they can compete with the likes of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the other powers that be in the National League to actually win a World Series. They actually shook things up a lot and added some firepower to their team. Now, pitching is going to be a question still, but this is a team that without a doubt, in my opinion, again, someone who has no dog in the fight when it comes to the National League West or the National League period. As a Detroit Tigers fan, even though I am wearing a Red Sox shirt because I like the shirt, but the point being is that Hosmer going to the Red Sox, obviously you're taking away a quality guy, but you add Josh Bell and the likes to Juan Soto to the likes of what they already have there in the young players that are really good. And Manny Machado is only 30 years old. I mean, they have a young core there now in San Diego that could be problematic for the likes of the Giants and the Dodgers and the other teams in the National League that they're going to be dealing with here. And I don't know if you guys have pointed this out in the last couple of shows, but Juan Soto under contract through next year, right? So it's not like they're going to. It's just a rent a Soto for 1 year. I mean, they're gonna have a chance to
rent a Soto.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean. It's a situation where they could possibly and if they lock him down to a long-term deal, this could be a Padres team that a lot of people are going to be dealing with for very recent years.
And obviously, that's the expectation. When you give up 8 players, like you're basically giving up your farm, your homegrown talent, right, for proven talent. So, my big takeaway is Padres obviously got better. I think Yankees got better almost from subtraction. I think Gallo leaving is great for them. He was struggling mightily there, but
Horrible.
I think Phillies actually did. I know it's my team, but at the same time, I think they did a really good job of strengthening positions that they needed. They brought in Brandon Marsh, who they're going to be rotating in center field. That's a great thing. They expect that he's going to be able to fix his hitting woes with us because we have better hitting coaches. But they also, picked up David Robertson and then Syndergaard. And I think that actually really is going to help solidify that rotation in the pitching, which it seems like Rob Thompson actually knows how to manage a bullpen and a starting pitcher rotation rather than Girardi. So, and we're getting Bryce Harper and Segura and Castellanos had a home run today. So who knows? Maybe the real Castellanos is back. So
can I chime in real quick too, Jose, and
Absolutely.
piggyback off of Ian? Ian said, get teams that got better, right? I think the Minnesota Twins got better also. Yeah. You look at that division, a lot of people, myself included, thought the White Sox were going to win that division. I thought the White Sox were a real World Series contender this year. Hasn't been the case. They've been a disaster. And Tony La Russa, even though he's a vet and he's won World Series, could be in trouble after this year, depending on what ends up happening. But the Twins got better, and here comes my homer-ish kind of comment of the day here on Straight Bet Sports. I don't understand how the Minnesota Twins, which is essentially equal to the market of my Detroit Tigers. My Tigers were in the World Series a decade ago. We are now irrelevant, and we are not contenders, and we are sellers, not buyers. Why are teams like the Minnesota Twins, are we talking about, at the trade deadline, could contend for an American League championship, and not teams like my Detroit Tigers? It's very frustrating as a Tiger fan. I had to get that in there. But Minnesota, another team, I think, that got better after this trade deadline.
Fellas, we're already towards the end, but we were able to get through everything. I appreciate you guys. Chris, I have one more question for you real quick, and it's a yes or no, and we can debate about it later. I was talking to a buddy of mine, actually, Evan, Drumline AV, our guy that takes pictures and videos for us. He's a big baseball guy, that. So I asked him, we were having the conversation the other day. I'm like, because Jacob deGrom came back. I told him, do you believe that Jacob deGrom is this era's Kerry Wood? And we both agreed, yes, because of the injuries. Would you agree with that?
I would, in essence, agree with that. I think he's better than Kerry Wood was, because I think Jake deGrom, you think of one of the best pitchers of this era, despite the injuries. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. And by the way, quick note on that. So he makes his debut last night, right in Washington against the Nationals. It's in Washington's ballpark. These Mets fans made a pilgrimage down there for this. Obviously, the first time Jake DeGrom has stepped on a major league mound in over a year since the injury, and he was outstanding in that first inning. I mean, the guy basically struck out two of the first three hitters he faced. But it was hilarious, guys, to see all those Mets fans on the dugout side. It was basically 90% Met fans in National Stadium to watch DeGrom's debut there for the Mets on the season.
Crazy stuff, man. The bullpen blows it for him again. Goose, you're right. DeGrom gets no run support. He's just like Clayton Kershaw. I think Clayton Kershaw would have had a lot more wins in his career if it wasn't for the run support that he never got. But, guys, we're at the end of the show. It was fun, man. I greatly appreciate you guys back in the studio doing your thing and being there, even though I'm not. Chris, I'll let you go first, man. Let everyone know what you got going on today, because I know you're still busy after the show and everything else going on with you, man.
Yeah, follow me at Twitter at Christian Winn. Also follow me at CWin77 on Instagram and Christian William Winn on Facebook. I haven't taken Quan 59's advice yet and linked up all of my accounts with the same name. That is something that's going to be taken care of soon.
Ian.
Make sure you follow, subscribe, turn on notifications. Ian B_sports, Straight Bet Sports, Jose_Volante. Make sure that you check out Gorilla Cross Radio. Download the app. It makes it a little bit easier for you to check out our stream. Not to mention, you can also watch previous streams. So it's a great run app. It's easy to get on your phone. So that's all I have.
Jay, real quick, what you got, my guys?
Yes,
Let everyone know. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Follow us, Straight Bet Sports, Gorilla Cross Radio on all social platforms. Follow me. I keep updates as well with Straight Bet Sports on J Madrazos on Twitter, Instagram. And yeah, support us. We're out there. We're out there in all the events. We try to hit them all up. and then give you the most accurate topics on soccer and everything we got.
So I appreciate you guys, man. But real quick, Ernesto Starboy Rodriguez fights this weekend, man. Make sure you guys give him a follow, a shout out, and support him. Not only that, Gil Martinez, his boxers are fighting this weekend. We've already tweeted out the link if you guys want to watch it live. Yadira Bustelos, Andy Betran, and not only that, Ezequiel La Bruquina Borrero live from Baja, Tijuana, California, Mexico. So I hope you guys join in and tune in and support them. My final thought. Marcus on Twitter posted this a few days ago while I was on vacation. I thought about it, and it made total sense. My unsolicited advice to anyone with kids: you basically have 12 summers with them to create memories that will last a lifetime. Before age 4, they won't remember. Once they hit 17 or 18, they'll have other priorities. So take the time to spend the money and make every summer count. So next week, guys, I'm Jose V for ENB, Juan59, Chris Winn, Jay Madrazos, the Gorilla Cross app, and follow everything they got going on there. I won't see you next week, but the fellas will. Till then, thank you so much. We are out.
Later.
Later.